Hi Sumates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the part B, and this is where we'll be sewing the pieces together. So if you have not seen the drafting and cutting version, I recommend that you do that first so that you are up to date, so that you don't get confused at any point in time. So this is a notched collar double-breasted blazer dress with underneath pleats. The pleat is at the under butt area. So if this looks like what you would like to learn, then you really need to see this video to the very end. Right here for this dress, I made use of a crepe fabric, a thick crepe fabric I got in the market. I think I got this for about 2,200 per yard, and I have about 2.5 inches here. I'm on a small size, so this actually was enough for me. So I'd gone ahead to cut out the pieces and as well as the lining. So for the center front, I cut out the lining using the fabric. I hope you understand this, and there's a reason for this. As we go on in this video, you would understand why. Right beneath this pattern paper is the main fabric. That's the fabric for the center front, and we have two pieces, one for the left and one for the right. Now I'll go ahead and bring in the lining piece for this center front. Remember that I already said that we'll be using the main fabric to cut this out. I also went ahead to attach interfacing to these pieces. I made use of a stay. Right here at the side front pieces, I've gone ahead to cut out the main fabric and also lining. Note that for the side front, you can actually cut out the regular lining. To make this easy, I'll go ahead to couple the pieces for the front first before we move on to that of the back. So right here, I'm going to bring in the center front that I just took off now, so that we have the two pieces, one for the left and one for the right. Then I'll attach the side to each piece, the side that correlates with each piece. I'm going to attach it to it or pin it down. I'll be using pins to actually hold it down. Actually have notches, that's why it's good for you to make notches. That's the bust area, the under bust area, and the waist area. It will be easy for you to put them together. So with the help of the notches, I'm aligning right from that top area down till I get to the bottom of this bodice. After securing down with pins, I can go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch. But before we do that, I'll go ahead to the other side as well, and right side facing right side, the center front and the side front. Using the notches as a guide, I'll go ahead and place these two pieces together and then pin down. Now this is the lining piece for the center front. The easiest way to differentiate the lining piece from the main piece of the center front is that I actually ironed interfacing on the lining piece, but I didn't do that for the main piece. So I'm repeating the same thing that I did on the main fabric. I'm aligning the center front of one piece to the side front. I'll do it for both sides. Now we can move on to the back pieces. So this is the center back, and as you can see, we have the pattern paper, the main fabric, and the lining pieces. So we have two pieces for the main fabric, two pieces for the lining. So first thing, we'll go ahead and close up that part. Usually this is where the zipper is supposed to be, but because this would not be needing a zipper, we'll have to just close that part up. So I actually left 1/2 inch to close this up, so I'm going to be using the same allowance. I'm pinning this down so that I can take it later to the sewing machine to stitch it down. Just as I have done on this fabric, I'll repeat the same on the lining. At this point, what is left is the side back, and I'm going to go ahead to bring it in, and I'll take away the pattern paper from it. So right here we have both the fabric and the lining pieces. I'll take part one side and then align it just as we did for the front. I'm going to align it, making sure that the notches are properly aligned. I will do this for both sides, and I also repeat the same thing that I've done for the fabric pieces. I'm going to go ahead to repeat it on the lining pieces as well. If you saw the drafting version of this, you would note that this dress is divided into two parts, the upper part and the lower part. The lower part is the part that contains the pleats. So I'm gonna head to cut this out to represent the pleats. I have 14 inches in length, and the width I think is about 9 inches. So how did I get this width? I actually used my hip measurement is 37 inches. Remember that we did an extension of 4 inches, so 4 inches on both sides will give us 8 inches. 8 plus 37 gives us 45 inches. So I did about times 2 of that. So you need times 2 of this measurement. You can actually do more. You can do times 2, times 2.5, 3 inches. This all depends on the amount of fabric that you have. I don't have so much, so I had to make 2 with times 2. So the next in line is the collar. Right here is the collar. Please make sure that you indicate up and the down part so that you don't get confused. You can see on the paper that I'd already gone ahead to indicate up, down, and even the part that comes on fold. So placing it on the fabric collar, you can see that I've gone ahead to add half an inch all around for stitching. And of course I have 2 pieces for this. One will serve as the main fabric and one will serve as the lining. I'm sure you took note of the fact that I actually cut out both pieces using the fabric. There's a reason for this as well. So the lining piece, the piece that I'm using as a lining, I went ahead to attach interfacing on it. So this is, here we have the back pieces all coupled together, and this is what it looks like on the wrong side and also on the right side. I'll go ahead to bring in the main piece, yes, for the back as well, and this is what it looks like. And now I will go ahead to bring in the front pieces as well. This is one side, and then I'll bring in the other side. What's left right here is to bring in the lining pieces for the front. So here it is. This is one side, and I'll bring in the other side. So now we have both sides right here. So now we can start joining them together. So I'll bring in the lining. I'll start with the lining piece. So here's the back, and I'll bring in the lining pieces for the front, because I'm going to be attaching lining to lining, then fabric to fabric. So this is lining piece for the back and one side of the front. So I'm aligning them together at the shoulder. Then I'll go ahead to pin it down. Once I'm done with this side, I'll repeat the same thing on the other side, then take this to the sewing machine to stitch down using 1/2 inch. Once this is done, I'll repeat the same process on the fabric pieces, aligning the front to the back on the shoulder line, pinning down, and then I'll take it to the sewing machine to stitch it down. While doing this, I'll bring in the collar pieces. Remember that we have 2 pieces, and I've already gone ahead to notch the center of both pieces. So, and remember that if you follow the drafting tutorial, we created a notch around the collar. It is very important. So following that notch, I'm going to start stitching with 1/2 inch from one notch till we get to the second notch. Actually, I made a mistake here. I didn't realize it until I went down to stitch. Remember that when I brought in the pattern, that's the pattern paper for the collar, there's a part that indicates up and down. Right here on the fabric, if you watch closely, you see an arrow. That arrow indicates the upper part of this collar. That is where I'm supposed to be stitching, not this other side. So I had realized it at this point, and I've gone ahead to loosen these stitches. So I'm going to do it the right way now. Still following the notch, I'm going to be starting from that notch, but I'll be sewing on that side where the arrow is facing, just as I'm illustrating right here, from one notch to the second notch. So please ignore the first chalk lines and follow this other one, okay? So this is what I have after I went ahead to stitch down. This is it on the wrong side. So I'm going to go ahead to trim out the excess that we have here. So this is just to make sure that we don't have any bulkiness. Yes. So once this is done, I'll turn it inside out. I will then take this to the pressing table to iron it down. So remember that this was where we stopped at this point. So I've gone ahead to press this, and it is laying flat. So the next thing to do right here is to align these pieces on the side so that we can close up the side. So I actually left 1.5 inches for the allowance. really, if you want to do inseam finishing, you don't really need to leave so much allowance, because at the end of the day, to just make the dress bulky. So for you can leave half of an inch is okay for inseam finishing. I hope you understand what inseam finishing is. That means the seam lines are not visible. Yes. So I'm closing both sides up, and I'm going to take this to the sewing machine to sew with 1.5 inches. At the end of the day, I'll have to still trim it off, because 1.5 inches will make that part too bulky. I'm going to repeat the same process on the lining piece off camera. I'm going to be showing you the notched part on this front part. It is very important that you have it. If you follow the drafting tutorial, you understand this. So here is the collar. I've gone ahead to press it down, and here is what we have. So right here, the next thing to do, I'll go ahead and trim. You see that it's not equal. Both pieces are not equal, so I'll go ahead and trim this off. I'll bring in the pattern paper. That's why I like drafting first. I'll bring in the paper. I'll bring in the pattern paper to make sure that I have not cut beyond what I should have, that I still have seam allowance to work with. Now that the collar is all set, I'll just keep it aside so that we can continue. So bringing back the main bodice. Yes, after stitching down on the side, this is what we have. And I also bring in the lining piece, so that we see that we make sure that whatever you're doing on the main fabric, you're doing on the lining piece as well. So I'm bringing the collar. Remember that there's a center for the collar, there's a notch at the center of the collar. Make sure that you align it to the center back. Center back is the center of a bodice. So I'm aligning right side facing right side, the center of the collar to the center back of this bodice. And I'll go ahead and start pinning down till we get to the end of this collar. And if you take note, you realize that where the collar terminates, that the collar actually terminates at that notch that already created while drafting. So you need to ensure that this helps you to know that you're actually doing the right thing. So once I'm done with this side of the collar, I'm going to continue from that center of the collar. I'm going to continue to the other side of this collar. So, and then when you note also, you see that the collar terminates right at that notch placed on the bodice. I hope you understand this. Then I'll go ahead and give it a stitch of half an inch. This is it after I went ahead to stitch it down using a sewing machine. So now the next thing to do is to bring in the lining piece. The lining piece will be used to turn this so that these seams are not visible. So I'm bringing in the lining piece, and I'm going to be aligning the center as well. That's the center back for the lining piece. I'm going to be placing it right side of this lining piece to the wrong side of this collar. Just watch the way I'm doing it. And if you can see, you are seeing that the shoulder lines of the lining aligns with the shoulder line of the fabric. It is important that they all align. So you continue pinning down till you get to this edge. Yes, this very edge. Then you continue downwards as well. That means we are sewing everything completely close. Okay, so let me take that again. I mean, we're sewing the lining from the center of the collar right to that edge, but you're going to go further. You're going to come to the end of that part, right into the center front, all through the center front till you get to that bottom part. Then you stop there. Then you now go back and continue from this other side, from this notch, that's the center, down to the other side. Remember that the front consists of two sides, the left side and the right side. So since we're done with this right side, move on to the left side and close everything up. I hope you understand. If you're not getting what I'm saying, if you don't understand what I'm saying, make sure that you pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm sure you would understand it. So I'm back from the sewing table, and this is what we have. So I'm sure with this you'll be able to understand what I was saying initially. So you're sewing the side or the center front closed on both sides, from the collar region to the center front. So now make sure that you notch around this area so as to ensure that you don't have any bulkiness, and make sure to notch around this these areas too. It is very, very important. So I'm going to create notches all around this side. Once I'm done with this, I'll go ahead to turn everything inside out. So here's what we have after turning, and this is what it looks like. You can see how neat this is looking even without pressing yet. So what I'm trying to do right here is to use the scissors to bring out that sharp edge. Yes, it's supposed to be pointed. In the inner part, I'm trying to reduce bulkiness. That's why I'm trimming off the excesses. So at the end of this, you'll have everything looking as it's supposed to. I'll go ahead and do the same for this other part as well. At this point, you can see that our outfit is already coming alive. It's already giving what's supposed to be given. So now I can go ahead and press and all, because it's actually important to actually iron everything. It gives a different look when you actually iron while you're sewing. So now I'm trying to align the front, making sure that everything is looking as supposed to, and then I would bring in the pattern paper. I'm doing this so that I would know where the breaking point is. It's actually important, because if your breaking point was 10 inches from the shoulder line, and when you're done you made it 12 inches, the outfit will not sit as it's supposed to. So what I'm doing is that I'm aligning this with the center front, one piece of the center front, to see where the breaking point is. And now that I've gotten it, I'll go ahead and pin it down, take it to the ironing table and iron it down as well. I repeat the same process for the other side, since you're supposed to have this on both sides of the center front. So now this is what we have after ironing it down. So it is really important that you do exactly as you have done while drafting. So now that I have it here, I can align both sides of the front together. And remember that there's an overlap. Yes, there's an extension, but before we go right into that, I would like us to finish the lower part of this dress. That is bringing the fabric that we're supposed to use for the pleats. So but before doing that, I have to align the lining to the fabric right here, just as I don't want to stitch down, so I'm using pins to hold it down and ensuring that the lining is aligning with the fabric pieces on all sides. So this is the fabric for the pleats. I'm actually aiming one side of it down, yes, so that the side that will be overlapping, I'm aiming it down. The other side doesn't really matter, since this part is going to overlap right on it. So now I don't know why my camera didn't pick it up when I started. So just place it right side on the right side of your main bodice that you've already pinned down. So I'm going ahead to start pleating. So your pleat depends on how much fabric that you have. So I'm just showing you how to go about this. So I'll be pleating, I'll be using pins to hold it down. But on this fabric that I'm using as the pleats, I already created a notch to indicate the center, so that it will guide me when I'm already at the center of the main bodies. So as I was pleating, I got to a point that I was already close to the center of the fabric that I was using to pleat, but I was still what I mean is I was nowhere close to the center of the main bodies that we're pleating on. So I realized that these pleats are actually I have to unpin and start the pleats all over again and not make them so close to each other. So but anyways, this is just for you to see how to actually pleat, in case you didn't know how to. you see what I was talking about, center, and see I'm not close to the center of the main bodice at all. So anyways, I'll take this down to the sewing machine and actually pleat it. So this is it. This is what it looks like after I was done pleating from one side to the other side. So remember the part I said should be hemmed down before pleating. That is what you're looking at right here. So the other part does not really matter because this part will actually overlap it. So, but if you want to hem down that side, so it's fine. But it really does not matter. So you see. So now you can actually go ahead and following this pleat, you can go ahead and iron it down. So that will even make it look more beautiful. So once this is done, you can also go ahead and hem the bottom of this dress. So I think it's high time I explain this. So the reason why we actually use this fabric piece for both the lining of the center front is because that part, that the lapel part, the part that we now folded and iron pressed down, it will be showing the lining, and you don't want that. Except you want a different fabric. If you wanted a different fabric, cut out that fabric as the lining for the center front. So see what you're looking at now. If you had cut it out using the lining, it is the lining that will be visible. This also applies to the collar part. So what I'm doing right here, I also went ahead to mark what we have as the extension on the paper. We have 4 inches. So the exact thing that you drafted on the pattern paper is the same thing that I'll be taking out here. So this will tell you how much you need to overlap here. So I have my 4 inches. So from this point, you can go ahead and make your buttonholes so that you can go ahead and make your buttonholes or take it down to people that do this. So what I'm trying to do is trying to measure where I want my buttons to be. I think I want about 4 layers. Usually we have about 3 layers, but I think I'll do 4 because I don't want any big openings. So I'll be doing 4. And since this is double-breasted, you'll be creating another 4 alongside as well. So after doing this, I'll determine the distance I want. So I think I'll be doing 3 inches distance from the first buttonhole. So I'll be creating another set of 4 buttonholes. And once you're done with this, the buttonholes will actually tell you where your buttons should be on the other side. So this part where I'm marking on, the part that is overlapping is where the buttonholes will be, while the part that is inside is where your buttons will be. I hope you understand this. So make sure that you take note of this. This is actually very important. Meanwhile, I was not able to go do buttonholes because I can't do buttonholes myself because I finished making this dress on a holiday, so I couldn't do it. So I had to just make do with using pins to hold it down. But afterwards, I'll go ahead to do that. If you are still seeing this video up to this point, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you did find it useful. If you did, please click on the like button, and if you're new to this channel, do well to subscribe. And if you're seeing this video first, make sure that you go back to see the pattern drafting. It's actually very important. It will help you to be able to understand fully. And do not hesitate to drop your question if you have any in the comment section. I'll be there to respond to you. Whatever question you have regarding this, I'll be there to respond to you. And do well to share this video to family and friends that are also sewmates. So the final thing to do right here is to attach the sleeves to this bodice. But because this video is already too long, it's over 20 minutes, I'll just be doing that off camera. So these are the sleeves that I'll be attaching. This is what the remnant of my fabric can actually do. And now we've come to the end of this tutorial. I hope that you did find it useful. Please do not forget to engage this video. The more you engage, the more it gets to other people that might be in need, that might need this video. So do not forget to comment, leave your comment. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment. If you have questions, leave a comment. You can also click on the like button, and you do well to share to people that might be in need of this. My name is Veronica Adams Eze, and this is Vera Adams YouTube channel. Till I see you in my next one. Bye.